The three linebackers in a 4-3 defense each have different responsibilities, but I'm ranking the outside backers in this video. So let's focus on the Sam and the Will, the strong side and weak side linebackers, respectively. The Sam linebacker usually has to take on the lead blockers and run plays or deal with tight ends releasing in the pass patterns. The Will linebacker is the glamour spot of the 3-4-3 linebackers. They're the ones who fly to the football and make plays. You'll see teams sacrifice size in favor of speed in the NFL draft. So while the lead blockers are being taken care of by the other two backers, the Will linebacker fights his way through traffic to get to the ball carrier. They need to have instincts, and they need to know how to take the proper angles to get to the ball carrier. All right, so let's start with the number one guy on my list. Call him David the Goliath. Lavonte David tops my 4-3 outside linebackers list. He's put up insane numbers since, he's burst into the NFL as a second-round pick in 2012, posting at least 139 tackles in each of his first three seasons. He had 146 a year ago, an insane 120 of them were solo, 17 of them behind the line of scrimmage, which led all 4-3 outside linebackers. His instincts and nose for the ball are outstanding. He's just so active. At 6'1", 233, he's built on a little bit of the small side, but he did play some safety in college and uses that anticipation and speed to excel in the run game. He wins with leverage, almost always beats his blocker, and can chase down a back no matter what, no matter where they are on the field. He uses his experience as a safety to help him in coverage. His fluidity and agility allows him to cut and dart after the ball when asked to, drop back in zone coverage. I've also seen him do well when going up against a slot receiver. So, he's the total package, really. He had 7 sacks 2 years ago, but just 1 last season because he's not asked to rush the passer that often. When he does blitz, however, he times it well, takes the proper angles, closes in on the quarterback very, very quickly, using that lightning fast speed. The Bucks did just extend David not too long ago, so they've got their outside linebacker of the future, and that's great for them. So you got him and Gerald McCoy building a foundation there in Tampa Bay. All right, Jamie Collins is number 2 on this list. He's a guy that broke out as a rookie during the Patriots' run to the AFC Championship game in 2013 and rode that momentum from the postseason into 2014, recording 116 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles, a smorgasbord of stat sheet stuffing material. As evidenced by those numbers, he's very, very versatile. He can play every linebacker spot, does everything well, blitz, covers, stop the run, tackles. Like David, Collins is a former college safety, but at 6'3", 250, he has a bigger build. And like David, he's also fast. When he plays outside, his speed and athleticism allows him to shut down the outside runs, and when he's in the middle, he can take on blockers and stifle the inside runs using his length, big hands, and combination of power and speed. When Collins came into the league, he was seen as an explosive pass rush option. Obviously, he's surpassed expectations, but his skill at getting after the quarterback is still there. He can beat you on the edge using that first step quickness and speed, and he times his blitzes well through the A-gap. Comparing Collins to David again, like I stated above, they both played safety at college, but this is where David has the advantage. Although Collins gets good depth on his zone drops, attacks the football using anticipation and closing speed, but David, he's just better in that aspect. Coming off an impressive rookie season, Khalil Mack is number 3, and I must say, he already has the leadership skills. He's already the quarterback of the defense in Oakland, and that to me is the most impressive quality about him so far. Reports have surfaced around Raiders training camp that the team plans on letting him rush the quarterback a lot more than last season, and he's been working a ton at defensive end at camp in base and sub packages. As a pass rusher last season, he tallied 4 sacks, 10 hits, and 40 quarterback hurries. His first step is explosive. His power allows him to push blockers backwards. His adept pass rushing talent is what he was known for at Buffalo. But in my opinion, no outside backer played the run better than Mack did a year ago. Forget about the numbers. He had 76 tackles. That's 70 fewer than David. But it was how great he was setting the edge and letting his teammates finish the playoff. It's football's version of the hockey assist, and no outside linebacker does it better than Mack, at least not right now. I mean, his instincts already heading into his sophomore season are absolutely extraordinary in my opinion. Dropping back in the coverage isn't Mack's strength, but he did pretty well considering his rookie status. He just needs a little bit more improvement in his awareness. But, I mean, the dude was a rookie last year, so, he's only going to improve in that aspect. All right, Dante Hightower, fourth on my list. Like his teammate Collins, he can play inside or outside, can excel in both a 4-3 and a 3-4 scheme. He's at his best running downhill, laying the lumber in the hole. His reaction time is exceptional. As a pass rusher, Hightower tallied 6 sacks, 9 hits, and 17 quarterback hurries. He times his blitzes extremely well, and when he gets ahead of steam, he runs over the blitz protection. At 6'3", 270, you might think that Hightower is too big to play good coverage, but, well, you'd be wrong. He can hold his own. He uses his power to redirect tight ends and moves quicker than you might think in space. Vontaze Burfict is number 5, coming off an injury-plagued season, dealing with concussions and knee surgeries. He played just 5 games after posting 171 tackles in his sophomore campaign in 2013. He possesses natural ball-hawking instincts in the run game, plays it very instinctively, cuts through the traffic. He's strong, can take on blockers and shed them to get to the ball carrier. He can also play in space, close the run down as a hitter. He's one of the most violent ones in the league. Because he's so effective against the run, he's not asked to pass rush a lot. He has the closing speed, but does tend to get walled off a little bit by the more athletic blockers. In pass coverage, gives up his fair share of plays, but he's smart, gets himself in position to make the play. DeAndre Levy is number 6, fresh off a 4-year, $33.7 million extension received earlier this week. He's certainly on the unheralded side. He's made remarkable strides in Detroit over the last couple of seasons. He used to play a bit out of control at times early on in his career, but has certainly learned how to harness his craft. He's best as a run defender, an aggressive run and hit type, uses his leverage and lower body strength. He can take on blockers head on, uses that intelligence he has to sift through traffic and take down ball carriers. He can, get after the quarterback when he blitzes or stunts, but isn't asked to do it much in Terrell Austin's scheme. In coverage, he sort of had a down year, although he, wasn't too bad. But he had 15 passes defense and 6 interceptions in 2013. Well, he was well off those marks in 2014. Sean Lee checks in at number 7, and if he can regain his form that he's shown before following an ACL tear a year ago, he's a top 5 guy. But it's difficult to put a guy who has never played all 16 games in his 4-year career any higher. Despite Rolando McClain's 4-game suspension to start the season due to performance-enhancing drugs, the Cowboys have said that Lee will stay at weak side linebacker. When healthy, Lee is the best out of all the outside linebackers in coverage. He's very fluid with his dropbacks, baits the quarterback into making poor decisions. As a run stuffer, Lee is a tackling machine. He doesn't get asked to get after the quarterback much. He's never registered a sack in his pro career. 3 ACL tears in 3 years hasn't deterred Thomas Davis from returning to his former self. Posting 3 straight 100-plus tackle campaigns, he checks in at number 8. At 6'1", 235, Davis is a 3-down linebacker, and coverage is his greatest strength. He has fantastic quickness in space, agility, and balance. He has the closing speed to break on the ball when dropping back into zone. He can also match up very, very well against linebackers. Because Davis is a bit on the smaller side, he does struggle when it comes to disengaging from a blocker on the move, and his 14 missed tackles a year ago are a bit much. As a pass rusher, like some other guys on the list, he's not asked to do it often, but when he does, he can be a force. Anthony Barr, another rookie last season, he's number 9, and heading into his sophomore campaign, he hopes to raise the bar in 2015. Corny little pun there. He underwent season-ending knee surgery in December, but he showed flashes of game-changing ability during his rookie season. His game-winning 27-yard touchdown off a fumble return and a forced fumble during an overtime, win against Tampa Bay last season, it was extraordinary and evidence of my prior point. He's an outstanding pass rusher in college. Oh, he was an outstanding pass rusher in college, but didn't do it too much his first season. But when he did, showed outstanding first-step quickness and would speed around the corner to get to the quarterback. He also did a fantastic job on his blitzes through the A-gap. In run defense, lightning fast closing speed, great range to chase the running back down along the perimeter and from behind. He did, however, have some struggles in coverage. He didn't do it much at UCLA, and it showed. But I believe he's too big and too athletic to not improve in that aspect. KJ Wright rounds out my top 10. He's a complete three-down linebacker. He can get after the quarterback, cover, and stop the run. His best attributes is in coverage. He can match up with tight ends down the seam and has the closing speed to make plays on ball carriers in the flats. In run defense, he's agile, has the size to take on blockers and speed to make plays in space. He's a consistent tackler and takes the proper angles. He uses his speed to his advantage when pass rushing and is very adept at turning the corner. Bruce Irvin is 11th, Nigel Bradham 12th, Akeem Ayers 13th, Justin Durant 14th, Jelani Jenkins 15th, Alec Ogletree 16th, Devon Kennard 17th, Vincent Rey 18th, Bruce Carter 19th, and Sio Moore 20th. A lot of underrated names in the group of 10 I just listed. I believe that the Buffalo Bills have the best front seven in the league, and the defensive line is the main reason why. But don't sleep on their linebackers. Bradham and Preston Brown are very, very good. Justin Durant and Bruce Carter were outstanding for Dallas last season and have been awarded contracts elsewhere. Durant's now in Atlanta, Carter in Tampa Bay. Jenkins is a very solid linebacker for the Dolphins, like I mentioned with Buffalo's front seven and their mean defensive line. The same's true in Miami, but don't sleep on its linebackers either, and that starts with Jenkins. The second-year fifth-rounder, Kennard, might be the most unheralded name out of my top 20, but he might be the name who shoots up my rankings most after this season. He had 4.5 sacks, played very, very well the second half of the season in limited action. Rey doesn't start for the Bengals, but honestly, he probably should be. He can play both outside and inside linebacker, and I'd take him over Rey Maualuga inside any day. Some other underrated names to watch out for. I like the Jaguars' Telvin Smith at 24, but nobody knows about him because he plays for Jacksonville. There's also Tahir Whitehead at 26. I like the rookie Shaq Thompson in Carolina at 29. And lastly, there's Kevin Pierre-Louis, who looked like a solid player in limited snaps for Seattle. He's at 34. So there you go. There's my outside linebackers list of the 4-3 scheme. And make sure you comment below. What do you have gripes with? Do you agree? What's your top 5? What's your top 10? Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Bitter Bird. So with that being said, I'm out of here later. And I guess my next one will be inside linebackers. Later.